Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Loehmer Dairy's virtual chat. I am Brittany with the Discover Dairy program, and we are so excited that you are joining us today as we get to meet Farmer Ashley and, of course, your adorable calves, Darcy and Natalie. Today's chat wouldn't be possible without the generous support of the American Dairy Association Indiana and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. So thank you to both of those organizations for making today possible. First, this live chat is part of the Adopt a Cow program. So for anyone that's new to Discover Dairy and the Adopt a Cow program, it is a free online resource that covers Common Core standards in math, reading, and science, all while using dairy concepts to teach those lessons. The resources can be found at discoverdairy.com, and we'll go ahead and put that link in the chat for you so you have access to those resources. We'd also love for you to join the Adopt a Cow Fund next year. So if you're interested in joining again, or you're new to the program, you just happen to stumble upon this live chat and are interested in joining the fund, you can go to discoverdairy.com/adopt, ADOPT, and sign up. Registration is actually already open for the 23-24 school year. If you're new to the program, you just have to fill out the form and submit, and you're automatically enrolled. Or if you've been in the program before, log into your account and you can simply just select to re-enroll and hit submit. We're excited to have all of you join the fund for next year. Next, as everyone continues to join us live today, you'll see that chat feature is enabled. Please feel free to use that chat feature today. You can comment, you can ask questions. I know Farmer Ashley is really excited to hear from you, and I am too. We just ask that as you use that chat, we want to make sure we're keeping all of our comments and questions school appropriate and related to the chat. So before we jump over to Farmer Ashley, we're going to go ahead and actually look at that chat right now and see where all of you are joining from. So let's see who we have. We've got Miss Lisa from Whitestown, Indiana. We've got Stephanie from Lafayette. We've got some third graders from New Albany. Hello, good morning, and welcome, third graders. We've got Miss Kemp's class from Evansville, Mrs. Reed's first grade class in Walton. We've got some folks from Greenwood, Mrs. Goff's third grade class in Noblesville. Hello, third graders, welcome. We're excited to have you. Mrs. Honeycutt's class. We've got Miss Mash's first graders. We've got some Mrs. Krause's third graders. Hello, good morning. Mrs. Keller's class, Mrs. Anderson's fourth graders, some second graders from Northwest Indiana. And let's see, we've got Miss Garvin's class. So welcome all, and I know there's many more of you joining on. We're really excited to have you. Keep letting us know where you're joining us from. We'd love to give you a shout out later on in our chat. We are so excited to hear your questions and hear your comments, and I know Farmer Ashley is excited to hear from you too. So with that, I am pleased to introduce you to Farmer Ashley. Hey, Farmer Ashley, how are you doing today?
Hey, Brittany, doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. We have a
Hello?
lot of
Hey.
very excited people joining us today. So I will let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your farm.
Awesome. So Natalie and Darcy are here, and they are very excited about this live chat. They were over here and they've walked away, so maybe they're a little camera shy, but they will be back.
Awesome.
So again, my name is Farmer Ashley. Thank you so much for hopping on this morning, making time in your day. We really appreciate that. So Loehmer Dairy is located in north central Indiana. And on this plot of land that we have, I am the fourth generation. My great grandfather lived here and farmed the land. I'm the second generation for the dairy. So my dad started the dairy in 1983. So this October, we're coming on 40 years of being in the dairy business. So we're really excited around here. It's kind of a milestone. So in 1983, my dad was young, and he and my mom started the dairy with only 36 milking cows. So they were the only employees for a few years. And then they continued to expand and grow. And we now milk around 1,800 cows, all hours of the day. So anytime you come, we're milking cows. And we have about 20 full-time employees and a few part-time employees. So we've really grown over these 40 years, and we're excited about it. And we have a lot to look forward to in the future as well, such as technology and just really starting to use more technology, such as AFI collars. So we started putting these in
Ooh.
last month. It's kind of like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit that I wear.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and you can really tell a lot. You can see how the cow is eating, how they're resting, if they're sick, and anything like that. So that is something we are like super excited about around here.
That is awesome. I love that you guys are adding technology to your farm. I'm sure you guys are really excited to be able to try to kind of just like be able to just see more data on your cows and just feel more in tune with them. And I think that's really awesome. And 40
Yeah.
years, what a great milestone for you guys. Are you guys doing anything to celebrate at all for 40 years?
We've talked about it, but I'm sure we're going to do something this October. We have to do some sort of a celebration.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
exciting. So that'll be fun. Maybe we'll have to maybe the cows will get a little extra grain that day until to
Yes,
celebrate. Awesome.
for sure.
We love that you guys have gotten into the dairy industry and clearly take really good care of your cows. These two have been a lot of fun following this year, and I cannot believe how big they have gotten. Look at them
I
in
know
this
it.
shot right now. Farmer Ashley, I will let you go ahead and remind us which one is which, and maybe give us a
Sure.
reminder, an update on how old are they, how much are they weighing, how tall, and just give us a little bit about each one of them.
All right. So this one here, she is super friendly. This is Natalie, and she is now about 590 pounds. She is
Wow.
getting super big. She loves the camera. Um, she is a little over 4 feet tall. She's like 51 inches. So maybe a little bit taller than my son, who's a preschooler, around the height of a preschooler or a kindergartner, I would say.
Wow.
Um, and her mom is doing really good. Her mom is giving 117 pounds a day, and
Whoo.
she is due with another baby in December. So Natalie is going to have a little sister or a little brother at the end of the year.
Oh my gosh, 117 pounds a day.
Yes,
So
a
just to
day.
put that in perspective for everyone listening, I know we farmers often talk in pounds, but we can relate it to gallons, right? So I did
Yes,
quick math, and it was about 8.6 pounds per gallon. That's over 13 and a half gallons a day that
that is a
one
lot.
cow is producing. So that's incredible. She's a powerhouse cow on your
Yeah,
farm, which is really neat. And she really likes the camera today.
she
She's putting on a
does.
show
She's
for us.
super friendly.
Oh my goodness, I
Behind
love it.
us, we have Darcy. For any schools that had Darcy, she is a little more shy. Um, but some people are extroverts and some people are introverts. She's kind of more
Hmm.
of an introvert. Darcy is 550 pounds now, and she is 50 inches tall, so kind of about the same height. And
Gotcha.
her mom is giving 86 pounds of milk, so a little bit
Wow.
less, but she is due with another baby in November. So she's
Oh,
going to have a little brother or a little sister in November.
oh, that's so
So
exciting.
yeah,
So they're both gonna have siblings, and both the mamas are doing good, which is really great to hear.
yeah,
You're right though. She is like, you guys can keep the camera over there. I'll walk over here. She's
yeah.
a little
She's
bit
just a
shy
little
today.
shy.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad to hear that they're doing so well. And we went ahead and just so everyone has those numbers, we're dropping all of those heights and weights in the chat for you. So that way, if
Hmm.
you've got that growth chart hanging up in your classroom, you can go ahead and chart the new height and weight of your calves because last we heard they were 6 months old. So now at 8 months
Yeah.
old, they are getting a whole lot bigger, which is,
Hmm.
I just can't believe how fast they grow. Now, we do have a question.
Yeah.
Right now they're around 550, 600 pounds or so, they're in that area. When will they be considered full grown, and like about how tall and how much would they weigh at full grown?
So at full grown, they're going to be about 1,300 or 1,400 pounds.
Wow.
When they have their first calf, they're going to be about 1,200, and then they'll keep growing just a little bit more. But they will grow to about 5 feet tall. So I'm 6 foot tall, kind of. They're just a little bit shorter than me, so about 5 foot.
Okay. Wow. And
Yeah.
so 5 foot, about 14, but like you said, I mean, sorry, you said 12 to 1,300 pounds. And at what age will they be considered full grown?
Around 2 years. They're going to have their first calf at 2 years, and then that's pretty much full grown. They'll grow a little bit more as a milk cow,
Sure.
but that's pretty much full grown. So they'll like double plus a little bit more of their weight.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So two
Yeah.
years old. Now that does sound young, I guess, to us as humans, but that's there. I think I've heard that like 10 human years is about equivalent to one cow year. So they're probably about 20 years old maturity wise by that point. So that makes sense. I think
Yeah.
they hit maturity pretty early on. I mean, considering they can walk within the first hour after birth, I think they
Yep.
advance a little bit quicker than we do.
Yep. They can walk and they can start to eat by themselves as soon as they're born. So their years are different, a little bit different from a human's.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're in a pen with them and they're nibbling on some grain and some hay. Is this where they
Mhm.
normally are, or where do they normally live? Just to give everyone an idea of how they live on day to day.
Okay, so if you remember when they're first born, they go into an individual hut, and I know you've gotten pictures of that. So they stay there for 2 months, and then they come over the first pen across the feed lot here. The first pen are 2 month olds, and then they go into a pen of about 10 to 12 calves. And then if you can kind of see, they're all separated. It's kind of like in school. You go to your kindergarten class, and then you go to your first grade class, and then second, and then third, and then on and on and on. And so they just keep going all around the barn um, until they're 4 months old. And then about 4 or 5 months old, they actually go out on pasture so that they can be with a bigger group and they can start munching on grass and really running around and having a lot of fun out there. So we brought Natalie and Darcy back to the calf barn just for this live chat with you guys,
Sure.
but they normally would be out on pasture
Gotcha.
at this point in their lives.
Gotcha. So on while they're on pasture, are they grazing? Are they eating any other foods while they're out there?
Yep, so they have access, always have access to clean, fresh water. They can also have grass, but they get a TMR mix. So it is a mixture of silage and hay and grain and all sorts of yummy things.
Ooh.
And they have their own nutritionist. His name is Dean, and he comes every week. And basically, he makes recipes for the food for each individual calf group. So a calf is going to get something different from a pregnant cow, a milk cow. They all get a different ration, is what we call it. It's just kind of like a recipe. So yeah, that's what they're going to get when they're smaller and their tummies aren't as developed. They get grain and hay, and I put that in their buckets today, and that's why they are chowing down on the grain and hay. Just because it's really sweet, it's kind of like a treat for them. So they're really enjoying this live chat today.
Right? They're like, we could be in the adopted cabs more often if this is how we're gonna get some special treats.
Yes,
I love it. So they're on TMR
for
and
sure.
you said it was called a total mixed ration. And I really think it's neat that they have their own nutritionist. I mean, I don't even have my own
Yeah,
nutritionist. So I
I
it
know
sounds
it.
like right. So it sounds like they are getting the absolute best diet they possibly could, which makes sense why they're so big and growing up so well.
Yeah.
They're getting really high quality food. Now, do you guys raise your own food at all? And how does that work with raising crops and storing crops and things like that?
Yes. We raise most of our own food. Our corn silage is the bulk of the diet, and that is raised 100% by us. We
Awesome.
also do some of our own hay. We have some local neighbors who make our hay for us.
Okay.
So we do that. And we also buy some feed that comes in, some byproducts. So feed is always recycled. So cows eat recycled soybean hulls, for example, and they eat the byproduct of distillard's grain, for example. So yeah, a dairy farm is very recycle and sustainable
Right.
conscious, I would
Yeah,
say.
that's really
Yeah,
cool because that's something that us as humans certainly aren't consuming and it would just be waste otherwise on our end of
yeah.
things. So
Hmm.
it's the cows can eat that, get a lot of protein and good nutrients out of it and turn it into energy and become big and strong. And of course our grown cows can turn that into milk, which is just really, really cool. They're the ultimate upcyclers, I think, and
Yep.
they do a nice job of that. Yeah, and you mentioned distiller's grain. I know any some folks that at least around our area in Pennsylvania were around Hershey. So a lot of the Hershey chocolate products are go to farms around here, like they're the
Oh,
the leftovers from that. So that's pretty cool. Cows, some of our cows get to eat chocolate. So I thought that was kind of neat.
neat.
So we have had some really good questions come in here while we've been hanging out with our friends. So one of the Mrs. Curl, they were wondering if these calves stay at your farm and become dairy producers on your farm. Do they leave your farm? Will they eventually have their own babies? What's their, I think we talked a little bit about it. So will
Mhm.
they grow up to continue producing on your farm?
Yes, so we do raise our own heifers. So our own babies, we keep them and they are always on our farm, on our property. So we don't send them off to a custom uh,
Grower.
grower.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're all ours and these will become milk cows in about like 18 months or so. They'll,
Okay.
yep.
So 18 months at 2 years old, they'll have their first baby, and then their baby does the exact same thing that they did, correct? She goes
Hmm.
into the hutch and
Yep,
follows the
exactly.
follows along in the calf farm. That's pretty
Yep.
cool.
So yeah, in other words, we don't buy any cows here.
Mhm.
We just like keep raising our own babies here.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So you mentioned that you milk 1,800 cows, and obviously a cow, in order to produce milk, they need to have a baby. So
Mhm.
how many babies does that mean that you will have on average a day or within a year? It sounds like it's going to be a lot.
Yes. So per day we have about any day could be about 2 to 5 calves
Wow.
per day, and about 150 to 200 per month. So
Wow.
that is um, doing the math. I'm not sure how many per year.
That's well, yeah, that's
I
a
can
lot
do
of
the math.
animals. Yeah, it's probably close to the same number of cows that you have, right? It's probably close
Like
to 15 or 1,800 calves that you have.
2,400, because
Oof,
we don't keep the bulls. We only keep
gotcha.
the heifers because they produce milk. Bulls do not.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, it's about 2,400 babies total.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's a lot of babies, but they're always so darn cute. So I love that's. I'm sure that's a fun job on the farm. Do you have someone that manages those calves, like specifically? That's a lot of animals to handle.
Yes. So we have one person designated to just the care of mamas and their newborns, day and night. So the maternity pens are always monitored and we make sure that they're all taken care of.
Wow. I think that would be a pretty cool job to just bring life into this world like multiple times a
Yeah.
day. I think that's
Yep.
that's a lot of fun. Very cool. Let's see. This is so actually a good question for you, farmer Ashley. They were just
Yes.
wondering, what is the biggest challenge as a farmer? And then what is your favorite part of being a farmer?
Okay. Wow. So
Right? Good
let's
question.
see. Well, my favorite part is just coming and making a difference for the lives of our employees and also our cows. So everything we do is we like to give respect to our employees and also to our cows. And so we help our employees have a good way of life, but also we all care for these cows.
Yeah.
The most challenging, um, just uh, yeah, I mean, having the farm is a 365. So on Christmas, we're
Sure.
here. New Year's, we're here. On birthdays, we're here.
Right.
So pretty
Yeah,
much it's all around the year.
right. Yeah. So I guess it just, it gets to be a lot, but that's why you have a
Hmm.
really great team to help.
Yeah.
And that way people can take a break when they need to. And for
Yeah.
you, for example, you can have a baby when you want, because I know you welcomed a new little one into the world, which is exciting. So you have an awesome team to help keep up with that. But you're right, it is a lot of work. But I mean, look at them. Look how cute they are. So it makes sense why you would
They
want to
are.
spend so much time
Yes.
with them. I love
Yeah.
that. So we had another good question. So we talked about how that they're technically on pasture right now. And this is interesting. They
Yes.
were just wondering what happens if there's severe weather or you lose power and you've got to obviously continue milking the cows and keep that flow going. So how do you guys handle
Yeah.
weather and things like that on the farm?
Example, if we would lose power, we have generators
Mhm.
to power back up our milking parlors so that we can keep going. But if it's really hot outside, we have fans and they always have fresh, clean, cool water. But the fans really help in all of our ventilation. In the winter, and even today, May 3rd, it's a little chilly here. So we have half of our curtains are down. Um, and in our milking parlors, we have curtains, and where the cows live, we have curtains. If a cow is on pasture, they have a woods. All groups have woodses, like
Gotcha.
trees that they can go to and get
Sure.
shelter.
Hmm.
And, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense. And
Yeah.
cows like it colder than us, right? Like I think their average is they like it when it's like 40, 50, 60 degrees. So they do
Yep.
they do pretty good in the winter time anyway. They've got thick, heavy
Yep.
coats
They
built
love
in.
40. Yep.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I prefer
So
70, but they
yeah,
like
right.
40.
Yeah, I agree. I would be happier in 70 degrees.
Yep.
A good question. So we were talking about the milking process a little bit earlier, just that you milk 1,800 cows. And I know you mentioned that your team physically milks all day long, kind of around the clock. But what does it look
Hmm.
like for an individual cow? How long is she milked for? And what's that process like for a cow?
So an individual cow, they come to the parlor 3 times a day here on our farm. Some farms are different. They have robots where they can go whenever they want, or it's a 2 times a day milking. But here on our farm, we milk 3 times a day. And basically every 8 hours. So a cow comes to the parlor, she's prepped, she's milked, which only takes about 8 to 10 minutes or so.
Mhm.
And then she goes back to her free stall. She can lay down. She's so happy. Um, she can lay down, uh, eat and drink as much as she wants, and just kind of hang out with her friends. So um, she's not milking all day long. It only is about 30 minutes or so out of her entire day where she is
Wow.
coming to the parlor and milking.
Yeah. That's not even like physically being milked. The physical like milking process is like 5 or 7 minutes. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of getting up, going to the parlor, getting her exercise, walking around a little bit, and then coming back. So it's a very quick experience, and it's pretty relaxing, right? It's very soothing for them and just kind of
Yeah.
a natural part of their day. Very
Yep.
cool. Very cool. Um, wow, we are getting some very unique, good questions. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Someone was asking, where does the water come from on your farm? And maybe you can even talk a little bit about how you recycle or reuse water on your farm too.
Uh-huh. So the drinking water from our farm in the water tanks, it just comes from the well. Like it's pretty much the water that we drink. But we do recycle some water. In our parlors, we need water to go through. It's called a plate cooler, which cools our milk from the cow to the tank. It's cooled like instantly. But that water that is constantly running through is recycled, and we use it to wash down the parlor and wash down the walls and clean all the equipment. So we're not just kind of wasting that water, it's all recycled
Yeah.
and repurposed.
And reused over and over again. And
Yep.
then of course it's, that water eventually goes back in. I'm sure you're spreading manure on your fields and that all just kind of like continues the cycle of putting the water nutrients back out in the field and it comes back in, and cows enjoy. So it's a really neat constant cycle of water on
Yep.
the farm. Very nice. Let's see.
Mhm.
Oh, someone was wondering, Miss Goff, they were wondering how old is their oldest cow on the farm?
So sometimes I remember seeing a cow that has had 10 lactations. So that means she had 10 babies.
Wow.
So that means she was about 12 years old.
Wow.
So that was probably our oldest cow that I can remember.
Yeah.
But
And go ahead.
they normally have about 4 or 5 or 6 babies,
Okay.
and then their career is pretty much done.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, because we
So
talked about it,
yeah.
right? Because it's 10,
Mhm.
10 years of human years to one cow year. So their average
Yeah.
lifespan is, 5, 6, 7 years oldish. And that makes sense because that means they're about 70 years old in human years or so.
Mhm.
But you're right.
Exactly.
So just helping to make that clear, you said 10 lactations and 10 babies. So that means it's about one baby a year for the cow,
Yep.
right? And so
Pretty
her
much.
gestation
Yeah.
period is about the same time for humans, I believe, right?
Mhm.
About 9 months old.
Yep. 9 months
9 months.
gestation, and she has a little bit of time to get rebred back and to get pregnant again. So
Sure.
yep,
Yeah.
about
Take
one a
a
year.
take a little time off and just produce some milk and live her life. Yeah. Very cool. We had a good question. So Taylor, I hope that answered your question, and Miss Goff, I hope that answered your question. We have another question from Mrs. Woolley's class, and they were wondering if the tags in their ears, like what are they for, and what does it feel like for a cow when they get a tag in their ear?
Okay, so for a cow, it's kind of like when a human or somebody gets an earring in their ear. It might hurt that first instant, but then you can barely feel it. But this tag is just really important because Natalie's number is 985. So in our computer, we have all of her health records based off of her number 985. Um,
Gotcha.
and so in order, it's just easier instead of naming uh,
Every
2,000
cow.
cows
Yeah.
and trying to remember their names and type them in correctly in the computer. So her number is 985, and there is not another cow on our farm with that number. So her number is unique, and it helps us to identify her and keep good health records for her.
Very cool. That sounds like it's a very important tag then. And that way, of course, you
It
can,
is.
see them at a glance if you're saying, hey, 985 needs to be checked on. As you talked about those tracking monitors you're adding. So you can
Hmm.
now go find the cow easily if she's not walking a bunch or something like that. So lets you identify them very quickly.
Yep,
Cool. Awesome.
exactly.
Farmer Ashley, we have absolutely loved hearing from you and seeing our girls today. They have been wonderful for the camera, especially our lovely friend here in the front.
Yes.
And they've been doing a really good job. But
Hmm.
we wanted to just start wrapping up today, and we actually had
Hmm.
someone ask this question, and it was the question I was going to ask anyway towards the end. But they Miss Rachel's students and myself would love to know why you chose to be a dairy farmer and care for cows and maybe not like chickens or goats or something like that. What was your purpose and your why behind being a dairy farmer?
Well, that's a good question. So I grew up on this farm, so I have lived here all my life, and I've just always been around the cows, always been around the employees. I went away and I was a Spanish teacher for 6 years. About the last 2 years of when I was a teacher, I worked part time on the dairy, and I really was getting more interested in the family business and this way of life. So I chose to come back to the dairy, and it's just something that is kind of a passion of mine to work here on the family dairy farm. And I have 3 kids, a 5-year-old, almost 5-year-old, an almost 3-year-old, and an 8-month-old.
Oh.
And they come and help on the dairy every once in a while. And so
Yeah.
I just love being able to give them that experience of coming with mom and um, helping me on the dairy and getting to enjoy the cows as much as I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah,
would say, living on a dairy is a really awesome experience. You get to see the full circle of life, and you get to spend time with your family all day, every day,
yep.
which is really cool. And you get to take care of these adorable calves. I mean, seriously, look at them. They're absolutely adorable. So we really thank you so much for choosing to be a dairy farmer. I obviously we're thankful that you were also a teacher, which is really cool. We love that you were able to inspire young minds. But we're thankful you came back to the farm and gave us this opportunity to follow you all year long, because this was a lot of fun. We loved getting to know your calves. We loved getting to know you and your farm. So truly, thank you so much for just being an amazing dairy farmer and a fantastic host farm for the Adopted Cow program. We really appreciate it. Um, and before
Yeah.
we sign off today, is there anything else you'd like to share with us, Farmer Ashley?
Well, I just want to thank you, Brittany, for coordinating all this, and also just all the teachers and all the students who participated this year. It was so much fun to, whoa, she's going crazy.
Oh
So
no.
um, it was just so much fun to get all of your greeting cards. I got Christmas cards and Valentine's cards and some things for Halloween just from the different elementary schools. And I really enjoyed those. And all the messages from Email Your Farmer. I really
Mhm.
appreciated all of those as well. Even though I didn't respond, I did read them. And I just say thank you so much for all of that. And
Yeah.
um, I hope to see you again next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Farmer Ashley. And I agree. I love seeing all of those letters and comments and things come in. We love hearing the love from you all. So,
Yeah.
as she said, we would love to have you in the program again next year. Registration is open. You can go to discoverdairy.com/adopt to get re-enrolled or sign up for the first time. Share the news with your friends. We're excited to offer this program again. And we'll have a new set of calves moving forward all across the country in the next year's program. So, we're excited to have you, and we hope you have a great summer. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, and